Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse podcast. Here we are in episode 172 entitled Labo VR Reactions. My name is Steve, and I'm your host, but I am joined today by our regular podcast crew of Barry. How's it going, Barry?
Hey, Steve. It's going really well.
Great to hear you. We had some little difficulties before the podcast started and everything, and couldn't hear you, so it's great to hear you. And Greg, you still there? Can I hear you too?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Awesome. And we also have an old friend, Hassan. How's it going, Hassan?
It's going well.
Cool.
Glad to be back, and I'm glad that everyone can hear each other.
Very happy about that. So thanks so much for everybody joining us in the chat now and later as well. Jakester's been hanging out in the chat with us, in the pre-show as we're trying to figure out all of the technical issues and everything. But I think we're good. I think we're ready to move forward. And yeah, he's asking if I played Torna during my spare time. I was too busy downloading Google Chrome on my computer and setting that up. So I think at the equivalent of my time in Torna, that would have been maybe half of one of the side quests at that point. So yeah. Go back to our previous podcast to get my thoughts on that. But yeah, throw your thoughts and everything about what we talk about here in this podcast in the chat. If you're watching live, if you're not watching live, you can always throw your comments down later after the fact. And if you are listening, thanks so much for listening and tuning in on your favorite podcast app. But do know that we do go live pretty much every other Monday night. And you can check that out on our YouTube page. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell so you can be alerted every time we go live, every time we post a new video, and every time we're active on YouTube. We'd love to have you join in the community. Also follow us on social media. Just search for @NintendoFuse and you can find us. Again, we love to chat with you guys in the live show. So make sure you do throw in your comments about everything that we're talking about. We are going to be talking a lot about our Labo VR reactions tonight, but there's a lot of other news. But before we jump into any of that, let's talk about what we've been playing lately. And let's start us off, Hassan. How about you?
Let's see as I boot up my Switch and just double check what I've been playing recently. Well, one, Labo VR, which we're going to be talking about. I played a little bit of the NES Online games. Which one did I even play? We just tried a couple random ones, my wife and I, just to see what would be interesting. I haven't really played too much of those games. And I've been playing some of the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid for Switch as well, which is pretty cool. I'm enjoying it, but I really want more content, which I know there's going to be a free update that's going to add in more characters, and there's a season pass that I got, which will bring more characters also. So as time goes on, it should, become more fully featured, which I'm looking forward to playing more of that. And then I played a little bit of Yoshi's Crafted World, although my wife has been playing more of it. And it's pretty cool. I like all the little costumes that you can get as well. Those are always fun to see what's available. So yeah, I like scanning there's the Yarn Yoshi amiibo you can scan, and you get like a tiny little Yarn Yoshi costume, which is pretty fun. So little things like that is always neat. But that's pretty much the majority of what I've been playing lately.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Greg, how about you?
Just Yoshi's Crafted World on my side. I was really playing away at a number of the levels and starting to make some real progress. So I've been trying to 100% the levels as I go, and sometimes it requires a couple playthroughs just to get that done. So I think there's like 5 levels total that I've completely 100%ed, and there's still at least 2 or 3 that I've played that I didn't complete yet. So, and then I'm still trying to advance the story when I can too. But it is really cool. My daughter really enjoys watching me play. She's like, "Dad, do you want to play a Yoshi game?" I'm like, "Oh, definitely, of course." So that's been a lot of fun as well.
That's fun. Cool. How about you, Barry?
I also have finally started Yoshi's Crafted World. I beat the first world. I was going to do the 100% every level until I think it was the 3rd level, and it was like the last enemy hit me, so I didn't have all the hearts, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. But it is a lot of fun. I don't know when I'll finally complete it, but time is not on my side. But it is a lot of fun, and I'm glad to at least be able to have some time with it. I've also done some Labo VR, which we will be talking about later. And that's actually it for the Switch. I'm still doing Dragalia Lost on the phone. Still hammering away constantly every day. Pokemon Go, I just had like the community event this past weekend. So I went out, hung out with some friends, took a walk. That was really good. And still Final Fantasy 14 on the PC when I get the chance. So just no time. That was my slogan last time, and it's still my slogan. No time.
True. Jakester's calling you No Time Barry.
Yep.
Got a new nickname there. I have also, it's a theme so far. We've all been playing a lot of Yoshi's Crafted World. I can't remember how far I got into it, but I've been several levels in, and so I think maybe 3 or 4 worlds in. And one of the things I realized is the worlds are fairly short. I mean, I'm moving on pretty quick to the next thing. And you can always go back and I guess play them in reverse and collect all the pups and all that stuff. But I feel like I'm moving pretty quick through the game. I don't know how long people have estimated how long it would take to beat the game, but I feel like at this point it wouldn't take very long, unless there's a lot of content and you're just moving through it at a quick pace. I mean, that could be the case, but I'm really enjoying it, and it looks so good. Like, I think that's one of the things that I noticed in the trailers and everything ahead of time. And one of the reasons I really got the game, because I've been kind of back and forth ever since like the first Super Mario World 2 game. I wasn't that thrilled about it, mostly because of the crying baby Marios. But since then, I've kind of been back and forth about the Yoshi games, and I decided to get this one because it looks so good, and it's cool that the gameplay really matches with the look and feel of the game as well. So I've been really enjoying that. And I've also been playing MLB 19 finally. And yeah, I'm not pleased. A lot of the things that I was hoping that they would fix is still not fixed. Especially my biggest pet peeve is that you cannot tell how high the ball is when it's coming in. And sometimes I'm swinging at stuff that's in the dirt, and I have no idea it's in the dirt till after it hits the dirt. So yeah, that's a pain in the butt. They did fix some of the pitching stuff, which is cool. They added some commentary, they added more music, so it looks good, it feels good, but it's still a pain in the butt that you can't tell where the ball is height-wise, and there's no indication of where you can pitch it as well. So like in a lot of other games, like the show or like all the other top, baseball games, you should be able to tell like where you're pitching it on the plate or where the ball is coming in, at least a general idea, and you have no idea where you're pitching it. So there's a lot of times I want, excuse me, I want the ball to like curve out to the outside, but then I try to do that with the analog stick and it still stays inside. And then all of a sudden the next guy, like the first pitch ever that I threw, the guy hit a home run. Like, booted up the game for the very first time, tried to throw a curveball at him, knocks it out of the park. Like, all right, well, that sucks. And I proceeded to get a lot of, end result was a lot more of that. And then when I came up to bat, yeah, it was hard to tell where the ball was coming in. So yeah, unfortunately, it's a lot of the same. They have improved a lot of the other features and the modes and everything, but yeah, that one thing I would like to see change. One of the weird things that Blake and I talked about in our game chat about MLB 18, they did fix was that when you went into a home run derby, you had to watch the computer players play their entire round before you could go on. It wouldn't like just tell you how many home runs they got. You actually had to sit there in real time and watch them. So they did fix that in 19. That was good. But yeah, I'm unfortunately not enjoying it. But enough of MLB 19, because this podcast, we're going to talk a lot about Labo VR, because virtual reality has finally come to the Nintendo Switch in the form of this little cardboard thing. So yeah, I got the starter set and the blaster box. because I didn't feel like spending $80 on a bunch of other stuff that I probably wasn't going to mess with anyhow. Really, all the reviews and all the people that got it early were talking about how the great stuff about the blaster and just the general VR stuff. So that's what I ended up getting. How about the rest of you guys? Greg, which one did you get?
I got the same one as you. When I got it, that was the only one available. So that was,
right.
I didn't really have much of a choice, but that was the one that I wanted anyway. So yeah, I didn't really see myself playing with like the artistic elephant mode and like the flying game and stuff. So blaster was fine enough for me.
Cool, cool. Hassan, how about you?
I got the full kit. Some of the stuff I wasn't, as interested in, but I did like the camera thing, which is the one I built the VR goggles and the camera. But I also wanted to try I had heard people talk about the wind pedal thing, saying that actually was kind of cool. Just, it's a really weird concept, but it worked well. So I was like, all right, let me, I'll try that stuff out. So I haven't built those yet, but I went for the full kit.
Cool, cool. Barry, I'm assuming you got the full one?
I did get the full one. For me, the most exciting one that I really want to try, and I haven't yet, but it's the bird. That's one of my favorite PSVR games, Eagle Flight, just because it allows you to feel like you're really flying. And this, seems like it's going to reproduce that kind of sensation. I don't know truly the degree comparison, but it's one I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a try.
Nice. I just want to, can you have your wife film you while you're playing it? Because I just want to see you like this whole thing.
I probably could once it's built. We were gonna build it, but I think it's like 120 minutes or something. We're like, we just don't have the time right now.
You don't have time? What?
No time.
Stop playing Xenoblade 2 and gotta build these things here.
That's right. I'm priorities.
I'm done with Xenoblade 2 already. I have 350 hours in that. What's Steve's excuse?
You played enough for the both of us. That's what it is. So let's talk about our first impressions there. We haven't had it for a long time. It came out on Friday, right? Like, if I remember correctly, it came out on Friday. So really had the weekend to play around with it and build some stuff. I built another Wii Joy-Con, or not Wii. Yeah, you could probably stick your Wii remote. A Joy-Con holder. I don't know why, and I really think it's dumb that we can't skip through that. But I had to make another one. And I figured, why not make it while I'm watching the video to make it. But then we got into the actual kit itself. To Barry's, I'm assuming, excitement, there was a way to prevent the Switch from going sliding out in the side. I had this little thing. I made this, and I was like, shoot, I'm done. Yeah, and there was like, oh, there's another step. What's this all about? I'm like, oh, that's to make Barry happy, so he doesn't have to go buying 3 or 4 Switches a week, and the rest of us as well. And then they have these little, the foam pieces in there to keep it from moving around, and it actually works pretty well in terms of like keeping it in there. That's one of the things that I have a generic plastic Google Cardboard thing for my phone, and one of the things that I hate about it doesn't keep the phones like steady enough. It ends up sliding out of view sometimes if you're moving around enough. And this, as simple as it is, those little foam pieces and that cover just keeps it right where it needs to be. So let's just go around the horn and talk about our first impressions of Labo VR. So Greg, how about, have you, other than the building it, has that been pretty much your only experience so far, or did you have any other experience with it?
I only had time to build. I was about to try to actually use like the goggles, and then I was like, oh shoot, I have to be somewhere, and I powered off right away. So I just was able to assemble the goggles. It took, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes, and I built my first holder. So that point of that is to practice, to make sure that you know how to pull the cardboard out of the stencil thing, and then you're able to fold it properly and all that stuff. So nice. I know. Did you have Labo before? No, this is my first Labo.
Okay, so from your first experience with Labo, what do you think so far?
I thought it was pretty good to make sure to definitely have a practice thing, because you obviously don't want to be messing up the main thing. But I was able to follow along pretty easily. I was just kind of holding forward through it, and then some parts was like, oh, I kind of see where this is going, and then I could jump ahead a little bit as I was just kind of fast forwarding through it. It's like, oh, repeat like bending parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like it was like a lot of like steps that didn't seem like you had to separate them out as much. But
yeah,
I don't know. I could kind of see where some of the folds were going, and then I was already anticipating it, and it turned out just right. So
yeah, I had not spent much time with Labo since the first set that I got, and I built like a couple things, and then it's still in the box in the other room, and I haven't touched it yet. But I'd forgotten that you could like slide to make it go fast forward. So that was a huge thing when it reminded me about that. It was like, oh yeah, that's a time saver. So at that point, yeah, a lot of times you get the hang of it, and you're like, why do you have to tell me about every little fold? I get it. I get it. There's 4 of these. I need to do it to all of them, and yeah, you don't have to walk me through everything, but
well, yeah, I understand. Let's be precise. But one thing, I don't know if you've noticed it in the first kits, but I did kind of like the people that wrote some of the text for this. I thought it was kind of humorous. It was like stick like the bendy outy things into this. It was like it's like what? Like who wrote this?
Yeah, it's pretty great to have the humor.
Definitely have a little bit of a laugh with some of the language that they used for like making sure everything was in like secure and everything. So.
That's cool. Hudson, how about you? What's your first impressions been like?
So I'll preface it by saying, so I have the PlayStation VR and I have the Oculus Go headset. And I also have like a little Google Cardboard-esque thing for my phone that Pentatonics gave me, long story. But the phone thing sucked. And I was kind of expecting this to be similar to that. PlayStation VR, obviously, you know, it's a headset on its own and, you know, much more powerful system it's connected to. Really great quality stuff. But the thing with that is after a while, like it makes me sick. The Oculus Go is more portable, smaller, not as good quality, but I find that one to be the most easy on my body, I guess, but like there isn't as much interesting stuff to do with it. So I kind of had mixed impressions of this, and I didn't really know what to expect from Labo VR because I thought, you know, the resolution wouldn't be so great or whatever, and plus you got to hold it to your head. But I gotta say, I am actually pretty impressed by it. Like I came away with it pretty satisfied and actually very excited to try out more stuff with it and build the rest of the kit. The quality is not, you know, PSVR quality, of course, you know, as expected. But it didn't make me sick at all. It's, and you know, I kind of like, in a way, I guess Nintendo seemed to have designed it around the fact that these are smaller bite-sized experiences because you are holding it up to your head. So you're not constantly, you know, there for like an hour at a time. Your arms are going to get tired. So I thought they, you know, did a good job in designing it in that way. But, yeah, I thought it actually, like, you put it on and I felt immersed in it, and it was actually much better than I was expecting. So I was actually very satisfied with it.
Yeah, cool. Barry, before you get into your thoughts, you may have addressed this as well, but Hassan brought up a good point, and I just wanted to hit it real quick. Have you gotten sick at all, Barry?
So for me, I do get motion sickness from PSVR. And I can do it for like short stints. So I did not really, you know, it seems like this is more useful for the games designed around it. What I mean by that is because it doesn't have a head strap, you know, you had the blaster, you're holding it up to your head, and just the goggles itself holding it up. Like I played a couple of the little mini games where you have to like control a little robot and jump up platforms, and because I had to have one hand on the Joy-Con and I'm doing it and I'm trying to like look around, I did get a little bit of motion sickness just because I had to like, where is he now? Oh, he's down there now. I got to jump up on this platform. Okay, and I'm trying to do that all one-handed, and I, you know, it's kind of frustrating to try to play a 3D thing with the one hand where you know I was using the right Joy-Con, so my buttons were below my finger, and it was just really weird. So I wound up getting a little motion sick, but it was a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like I expected it to be pretty terrible, and it was a lot better than I thought it would be.
That's cool. Yeah. Before you jump into the other stuff, that like I just wanted to hit that because I also was expecting to get motion sickness, and I didn't at all. And I played it for about an hour solid. And usually about like 5-10 minutes into the other VR, I am about ready to puke. But I did not experience it. And to hear that Hassan didn't get sick, I didn't get sick, and you got sick a lot less than you normally do, that's interesting to me, and not what I was expecting at all. But
I think I would get less sick on using the actual, like, where I'm not holding it, or I'm holding it, but I'm like doing something else, like the bird or the blaster. I think that will feel a lot better for me than trying to like do two, like, you know, because like looking up there, it's like looking up and down, and really all I'm doing is I don't feel like I'm really there. I feel like I'm the camera. And it's a lot different when you feel like you're the camera versus like the blaster, where you are that person. You are the one shooting it. I think there's a difference between the first-person VR and the third-person VR.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so, I do think that matters, the experiences that you do, because I think, like you're saying, Barry, like if the games are designed around that, then it's better versus in the VR. Like if your character moves a certain way that you're not expecting or your body doesn't expect, it just throws you off, and then you're just, you know, you really, that sickness kind of hits you. So I think, at least so far in the limited stuff I've tried with it, they've seemed to design their games around that.
Maybe because the camera's more fixed or something. Yeah. That makes sense. So yeah, Barry, you can keep on going on. I just wanted to, that was just a common theme that was popping up. I was like, ooh, we got to talk about this because this is interesting.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like one of the mistakes I did is I went into one of the, like there's that help section where like you have the 3 characters talking and it's like a text message. And I did the first one of that in VR, where it was kind of like I was looking at a giant TV screen, but I was like in VR, and it was just like that kind of made me, because I'm looking down, watching the text and looking, and I was just like that started to make me motion sick, just because it was like simulating looking at a TV up and down. And then I put it into the dock, and I was like, oh, I could just watch these on the TV. There's no reason to do this in VR at all. It's not even a 3D effect. Like it looks like a 3D TV effect, but the words don't pop out or anything. So I'm like, okay. The one thing I did notice though, about this, and I advise this to everybody else, because I usually keep my Switch docked and it's in a TV stand. So when I pulled it out, you know, and I started doing it, my screen protector had some dust and stuff on it from sitting in the TV stand. So the first time I went to VR, I'm like, whoa, I need to clean my screen, because you see these little particles of dust and they're like right in your face. So if you keep your Switch docked, odds are you're going to have some dust get in there. So clean your screen before you try this.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I noticed mine. I didn't have a screen protector on it, but it was a little dusty. And at first I was like, well, that's really annoying. Like I just pulled the sticker off the thing. Why is it already dusty? I was like, oh, I bet that's my screen. Like I need to clean my Switch for sure. Yeah. So Barry, were you just in general, were you pleased, or is this kind of still something that's really lacking, you think?
No, I was pleased. Whether or not, you know, I'm kind of scared about Breath of the Wild. And the reason I say I'm kind of scared about Breath of the Wild is I only played Breath of the Wild a little bit on portable, and it did actually trigger vertigo for me. Just looking around in this smaller screen, but I could play it perfectly fine on the TV. So I don't know, combining, I already get a little motion from that on top of throwing it into the 3D VR, how it's going to be. I'm going to try it, but I also can't imagine playing, you know, Breath of the Wild, holding your hands up like this with the 2 Joy-Cons. And I played the whole thing with the Pro Controller as well, which is going to throw me off. But I think this is a good start. I think there are some things that will alleviate this. One of them we're probably going to be talking about in a little bit. But if there is such a thing as a Switch Pro, that will definitely help. One of the reasons I upgraded to the PS4 Pro is for the VR, and that did actually help because it was a higher refresh rate. So I think it's a great start. I think it's a unique take. It's definitely Nintendo's take on VR. That's what I have to say. And whether or not they continue developing VR updates or VR programs, I guess time will tell.
Cool. Yeah, just kind of first impressions for me really is very similar to you guys. I was pleasantly surprised. I really went in with low expectations, and I'm pretty sure on a former podcast I had stated that I was not planning on getting it. I had no intention on getting it at all. And then I watched some others on YouTube that got some early experience with it. And the next thing I know, I'm going, well, I maybe actually can get this. And then they announced that Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild was going to be updated with it. And I was like, all right. And then finally, at that point, I looked into the basic, the starter kit. And because at the beginning, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to pay $80-$90 for this just because I wasn't that excited. And I'd kind of forgotten that there was going to be a basic kit. But then with all the early reviews and all this stuff, then it sent me back to going, oh, what about that other one? And I was like, $40? I can do that. I can check it out for $40. And I was, I think, really surprised at how much content is in there at just the starter kit size. Like you can get all the extra stuff on there within the garage and everything else. And from what I've heard from other early reviews is that the Blaster Games is actually possibly the best one of them all anyhow. And so it's like, yeah, for $40, I'll go ahead and give it a shot. And I get the benefit of eventually trying out Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild in VR. Who knows how that's going to work? I still have a lot of questions, especially about Zelda. That seems like it's going to be cool for about 5 minutes and then get annoying. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, pleasantly surprised. Hassan, what do you think about especially the Mario Odyssey and Zelda news around VR?
Yeah, kind of similar thoughts. And I was one where like the Labo VR kit was one. I was like, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but I was skeptical and I was like, I'll wait it out. Because I got the other 3 Labo kits. I built the first 2. And then I got the third one, the vehicle kit, as a gift. But I hadn't got a chance to do that yet. So I was like, all right, I'll get to it at some point, and then maybe I'll check out the VR kit after impressions are out. And then they announced the Mario and Zelda thing. And the second after I finished watching that, I was like, all right, Best Buy, pre-order. Ship to house, we're good. Okay. Because, it's Breath of the Wild in VR, like, of course, But that being said, I am also skeptical of that because of it seemed like you just go into the settings and turn on VR mode and then the entire game is in VR, maybe? Question mark. So I don't know how that's going to work because, as Barry was saying, like, how are you going to comfortably hold that? Because you can't do the one-handed thing for Breath of the Wild. That just doesn't work. So you're just going to control like this, like that. Just, I don't know.
Right.
I'm really skeptical about it, but I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out. The Odyssey VR thing I think makes a lot more sense because it's designed around VR. But I don't know. I also can't see Nintendo throwing in something into they're probably one of the biggest, right, Switch games, one of their biggest franchises, really, and just making it like a mode that just completely sucks and everybody's going to throw up every time they play. Like, I don't think they would really do that. I would hope. I mean, they surprised us all with this VR kit in general. So, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll see.
Yeah. Very, What do you think? I mean, other than, maybe playing, Breath of the Wild like this the whole time, or somehow figuring out how to grow a third arm. I don't know. How do you think this is going to work?
I just got this image of people like at a train or something and just sitting there like with the Labo VR.
Just a bunch of people on a plane, just like everybody's like throwing up everywhere.
Oh my God!
Hey, you had another podcast. We're talking about puke going everywhere.
Yes, we are. Honestly, like for me, it almost feels like Breath of the Wild VR is going to be more like playing Breath of the Wild with the 3D slider up on the 3DS, and I almost feel like it's going to have that. It's going to add like that real 3D depth of vision and stuff like that. I don't know if you'll be able to like look up and look down, but it's going to be one of those things where, again, you would be the camera if that was the case. And again, I don't know if they're actually going to let you be so if you look up, oh, look, I'm looking straight up and like looking straight down, or if it's going to be no matter which way you turn, it's going to be the same thing. And in reality, it's just a 3DS type 3D slider, glasses free. That's what I think it's going to be, which will still be cool, but I think it's going to be the same thing like playing Ocarina of Time 3D on your 3DS, where it's like you turn on the 3D and like, oh, this is cool walking around Kakariko Village. And by the time you get to the Deku Tree, you've turned that slider down and you're just playing it normally. So I can't see it being a longevity thing for most people. I say most because I'm sure there's going to be that one person doing a speed run, only VR version speed runs, and I'm sure that's going to be a whole new category. As for Mario, like you said, it seems like it's more designed for VR, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to messing around with those new challenges. I haven't gone back to Odyssey since I finished it, so it'll be interesting to go back and see what new things they've added. But again, I don't know about the controls. Like, is this going to be like Virtual Boy 2.0 with the sense of you have to get like the stand and set up the VR and then like, you know, lean forward and play with a pro controller in your hand or something? Like I can see that, but I can't see that being comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it did remind me of that, like after you get that platformer game that you can play around with in Labo VR, and it seemed like
that's what I was
that kind
doing.
of be very similar to that sort of thing, where it's this 3D look into Mario, but it just kind of levels built around that. And I was watching the trailer just before the podcast again, and that kind of seems like the idea. It's, now that I've actually tried it, that makes a lot more sense, because when I first saw it, I was like, I don't get it. But now experiencing that a little bit.
But did you try any of those? Because like that's what I was talking about with the one Joy-Con, and it was like really weird. Like it was like jump on all these platforms, and like you had to look up and down to find all the platforms as you jumped. And
I liked the general platforming one where you move from like one section to the next when you try to get from one to the next door, and then it moved you on the next one, avoiding the balls. It was like kind of like in a way kind of like Donkey Kong. I liked that more than I liked the jumping on the platforms, because I didn't feel like it lined up properly sometimes. I felt like I should have been under it, but like even watching the shadows, but it wasn't a direct down shadow. The shadow was being cast because the light was off center, and I was like, okay, where do I need to be and everything. So yeah, I prefer more of the general platform like Donkey Kong thing than the other jumping platform thing. But Greg, you know, I know you haven't played it yet, but what do you think about Labo, or about VR coming to Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild? Did that convince you at all to get it, or were you planning on getting it anyhow?
It actually did convince me to get it, because then it kind of shows that this is going to be a further integration into other games. So, like, if they're to be even doing other games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or something else, then that would be really incredible to have the goggles and everything. So as soon as they were saying, okay, it's gonna be in Zelda, that kind of pushed me more towards it's like, oh, is this gonna be worth it? And then yes, it is. I'm actually ended up getting it now. So that one did push me over the edge. I did hear some positive reviews of it initially, so that also kind of helped. But just that was like the icing on the cake was like, oh, it's gonna be supported in Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, and I'm like, okay, boom, sold.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up Mario Kart. I mean, how cool would that be? Like for Hassan, who has all the kits and built and everything. You have the steering wheel, the pedals, the VR. If you somehow strap it to your head, and all of a sudden you're playing Mario Kart that way. I mean, that could be cool, I guess, if it's really high quality. But I wonder if they're eventually gonna get to bring VR into other games like they have for Odyssey and Breath of the Wild.
Knowing Nintendo. I was gonna say, knowing Nintendo, they would allow you to do that, but they would make it like Flintstones Kart, where you have to use the pedal that comes with the VR that does the fan effect, like you're really like running your foot just to move.
I need like VR shells and bananas, like or Labo shells and bananas. I mean,
that'd be great. So Barry, were you a little surprised to see that the Virtual Boy made it into Labo VR?
Yes, I was happy about that, but it was still such a tease. It was like, look, we have this whole library here of games that you can't play anywhere else, and most people haven't played, and you still can't do it.
Yeah,
it was nice.
I was like, oh man, Barry's gonna be so excited and so ticked off at the same time right now.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh my god, are we gonna be able to play? Like seriously, I love this version of Mario Tennis. No, we can't.
Just a 15-second video. That's all. But yeah, that was one of the things that kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting those videos, and some of them are really cool. And I think the virtual boy one was one that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that either. Which of all the games have you guys spent most time in? Which have you enjoyed the most? For me, it was the baseball one. I spent a lot of time, and it's very, very simple. It's not real baseball, but it was a lot of time where just tossing the ball in and swinging the looked like a 2x4 at the balls and trying to. I was determined I was going to hit the sun, and I finally got it. Took me a while, but I had to hit it just right to finally hit the sun. So, which ones have you guys spent the most time in, Hassan?
Out of like the VR Plaza, I'm trying to think. Maybe the one where I haven't played them all yet, but the one where you're kind of controlling a little remote control car with the hammer, trying to smash the other one. I don't know why. It was just kind of fun, VR or not. Like it was just an interesting little thing. But the VR thing in general that I've done the most of is I built the camera, and I find that one's actually pretty cool because one, I always love how they with the VR or with the Labo kits where they add like the tactile feel to certain kits or the sound. So they have like little cardboard pieces so that when you turn the lens, it makes like a little clicking sound. And so it kind of feels nice too. And it also, is interesting in the game. So you're kind of looking around, taking pictures of, different fish and stuff. But you can actually use that camera in some other mini games where there's one where you're like, these balls are coming at you and you have to like shoot them. Basically, like shoot a certain number in a certain time. But what's neat is you can twist the lens and it slows things down and in various degrees. So you twist it all the way, it's like super slow or like slightly. So it's kind of neat because as they're coming at you, I try and get one, and then if it's getting too far, I slow it down and fire and then get the next one. So that one's actually pretty cool. It actually works really well. So I'm kind of excited to see what other mini games I can play with it. But yeah.
That's really cool. Barry, how about you? What have you been spending the most time in?
I did that platforming one that you were talking about, like DK, and then I did the jumping one, and that one made me sick. So like that's when I said, okay, I need a break, and I actually haven't gotten a chance to go back to it yet. Gotcha.
So as we wrap up, our thoughts, our reactions, and stuff to VR or Labo VR. Where do you guys think they should go in the future? Kind of just like if you were, again, a lot of what we do here on the podcast is speculate. Tell Nintendo what we think they should be doing. So let's do that a little bit. Where do you think they should take this in the future, moving forward? What they've done here with Labo VR seems to be pretty good so far. A great first step into VR, a lot better than a lot of people expected it to be. Where should they go from now? Greg, what do you think?
I think they need to have one of those little straps so then you can actually wear it. Then I think it would work for Mario Kart 9, and I don't know. I mean, maybe they could even do something with Smash Brothers. Even I think that would be huge, but it's very doubtful. I don't think that might be too intense and need like perfect timing and everything though. But
all right. Hassan, how about you? Where do you think they should go from here?
Just more integration with stuff. Whenever they added the Labo kits to Mario Kart, and so I want adding in VR to this, or just give more options to use it, because the other Labo kits, I built them, played them a little, and they've just been sitting there not being used. So if there are more compelling reasons to continue to use them, I think that would be really cool. And maybe opening up VR to the online world of like, you can build out these Labo VR things in the plaza, but you can't share them with anyone. So what's the incentive to like build some crazy level if you're the only person that can play it? So if they open that up to allow for people to share things, then I could, every week go in and play some really cool new VR mini games that people have made. So that would be neat.
That's a really cool idea. I really like that, and I'm gonna definitely agree with that. Barry, what do you think?
As it is now, definitely what Hassan said, opening up the VR Plaza online is a must. That's like playing Super Mario Maker, but not being able to share your levels at all. And I know that's kind of what the 3DS version is, but that at least allowed you a little bit to share with Street Pass. This couldn't do anything. What I would do is I would use this as a starting ground, and I would go full-fledged. I would do a actual headset, one that straps on, one that is more powerful and utilizes your Switch titles or new titles entirely.
Cool. I love all those ideas, and I think I would add I all of that I agree with, and I would just say what I said earlier. I would love more integration. I think a little bit what Greg was saying too, just combining some different stuff together, and let's see what happens when you put the VR Labo with the vehicle kit Labo and strap on the Robo kit to I don't know, something where you can just combine all these different kits together and be able to have your cosplay VR Labo and you're actually like doing something in the game. That'd be really cool to see more integration with all of them kind of combining together into either something that's downloadable for someone that has all those kits already, or something brand new or integrated into some game that already exists. I don't know, but it'd be really cool to just see all those different pieces coming together. And yeah, I absolutely love to have them eventually handed over to even more to the users and the players, and be like they say, just like what's it called, like the websites out there that are for builders and makers and stuff like that, be able to have like this huge place where people are making their own stuff in Labo and their own cardboard, their own garage stuff, their own plaza stuff, and be able to share it and everything. It could become like this really cool opportunity that we've talked about in a lot of ways, even for schools, as they're learning basic programming and stuff like that. It would be a really awesome opportunity for young budding developers and just to learn early on as well. So it could be really cool. So that's our Labo VR reactions. Yeah, I'm sure we'll kind of keep talking about Labo VR as we move forward and everything. But let's talk about some news, because there's been a little bit of news. As of a few days ago, there wasn't much, but then all of a sudden, the last couple of days, we've gotten a little more news. And it seems the Wall Street Journal has not given up on their the news article that they published back in 2018, saying that there's going to be new Switch consoles in 2019, because they just released another article that's basically confirming it, and they say that that VR is going to be, or not VR, that Nintendo Switch is actually going to have 2 new versions that could come as early as this summer. That we actually may be able to see 2 new versions of the Switch console as early as summer 2019. And they say they have sources that back all this up. What are you guys thinking about this? Barry, let's go to you first this time.
When they say we may see summer 2019, I'm thinking E3, if that's the case. I do think that's really, I mean, we've heard about this for a while. It's been rumored for a while, and it almost feels like it's going to happen. But at least one of them is. But that's so soon. Like, I mean, we did predict that there was going to be one this year. Some of us said the Mini, some of us said the Pro. I don't think any of us actually said both would come. So if both actually do come, at least announced this year, I mean, if they announce it in June, most likely they would have to put out by December. There's no point in announcing it now for next year. That would just sabotage their Christmas sales. And like, wow. I mean, and I can see a lot of people feeling burned. Like, wait, I just bought a Switch. What the heck? So I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. If they do have a Pro, I hope it entices more third parties to come over to utilize that. And if there's a Mini, then I hope that it, helps with the portability, because that's one of the reasons I don't use my Switch for portable, because it's the clamshell I love on the 3DS. And I didn't really even use the Vita that much to take with me, because I was too worried about the screen. I had to always have it in that case. But at least that fit my pocket, or at least I could put it more easily in my bag versus the full Switch, which reminds me more of the Model 1 Atari Lynx in terms of portability.
Yeah, good points. Yeah, Austin, what are you thinking about these the new Switch consoles? Think it's going to happen?
Yeah, I definitely do think it's going to happen. It makes sense. And the Wall Street Journal has been pretty reliable with this kind of stuff. I think we'll probably see the sort of cheaper version, because they kind of compared it to like the 2DS and the new 3DS XL kind of equivalents of like the 2DS being sort of that cheaper version with some features removed. And then, I see them maybe updating or adding some things to the Pro or new model or whatever it is. Because if you think about it, the cheaper version of the Switch, that's probably going to be, I'm assuming, maybe like with built-in Joy-Cons, like not detachable, so kind of focus more on like the handheld aspect of it. The games coming out this year, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, major system sellers, especially on the handheld side. And so if, kids are bugging their parents to get them a Switch and they release a cheaper model that is more affordable and that, to play some of those games, I think that's a perfect combination. So I could definitely see that releasing like by the fall, at least to capitalize on that, and release special edition versions, like release it maybe a couple months before Pokemon and stuff comes out. And then when Pokemon comes out, release a new color that's like Pokemon themed or something like that. It's going to sell like crazy. And then maybe spring next year or something, do like the upgraded Pro model, something like that. I don't see them doing too much more with the Pro, like in terms of it's not going to be like a Xbox One level kind of PS4, kind of thing, but small little upgrades, little enhancements, things that maybe like a better kickstand or like little like quality of life improvements, that kind of thing. But they have to keep compatibility with stuff, so they can't go too crazy with it. But yeah, it all makes perfect sense, I think.
Yeah, and I think what you guys have hinted at too, if VR really takes off, the Pro model could be, the thing they announce. Here's the Pro model, and here's the VR attachment that you've loved this. We're going to do the same things, but we're also going to kind of push it forward. Greg, what do you think about these two new Switch consoles? If they are real, like what could they be like?
Well, I do agree with what Hassan was saying, like with like how like the more like mini model, I guess, would come first, because I do think like the 2DS comparison was pretty valid, because they try to get that cheaper option just to make sure it's more affordable for more people. It opens up more doors and gets more customers and everything like that. And then obviously with the upgraded version, it'll probably be like whatever, like a slight increase in like whatever RAM and maybe screen or screen size or something, and nothing like too drastic, but something that can make it a little bit better for more high-powered games and whatnot. Unfortunately, I really hope that they don't have to release that personally, because I don't really like when they do like the console upgrades and I have to feel like I have to buy another console. But I obviously would sucker down to get it anyways at some point.
See, I hope if they do a Pro, I hope they go all out. I hope they go all out to compete with the PS5 and Xbox One or 2 or whatever it's going to be called. Like something like, we're serious about this. Like, this is only for those that want the best graphics. Because if we're going to get like titles, like let's just say Cyberpunk, it's not coming to Switch. I would rather have it at least to come to a high quality model than to not come at all. At least it gets more stuff onto the Switch platform, even if it's only for those select few. At least it's an option.
That's true. The only downside about that really is what's that battery life going to be like 30 minutes? Is that
better battery life, of course.
Can't manage their battery even on the current system, so they're going to be horrible. They're going to learn some battery mechanics to go forward to really optimize batteries, like Samsung and Apple and all the smartphones have done. Or we're going to have a Pro system that's really going to last 30 minutes if it's not docked, and possibly still have overheating issues. So they're going to fix a lot of stuff if they're going to beef it up. Granted, I would love it, but they got to fix some stuff.
What they really need to do is just go to the warehouse, open up their boxes, the DSs, and just like take the battery out of the Nintendo DS and like put it in the Switch. I mean,
they knew what they were doing then.
That thing like lasted like 120 hours or something like ridiculous, and I don't know why. Like since then, we've got like, oh, it's only 5 hours or 3 hours. It's like, who only plays for 3 to 5 hours? I mean,
yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess my only thing is like, I would love a much beefier like Pro model, that sort of thing, but at what point does it become an upgraded Switch versus a Switch 2, you know, with all the how much different or more powerful it is, that sort of thing. And the Wall Street Journal put in their thing that it's not going to be as powerful as the Xbox One or PS4, like, you know, like those systems. Like, it's going to be sort of a just like sort of an enhanced version of the Switch. So I don't see them doing anything too crazy just yet to undercut the people that, you know, that did it.
Yeah, we have the DSi or the 3DS XL kind of update.
Yeah, like the new.
And watch it really please Barry, and they remove the cartridge slot, so you have to buy the games digitally.
Yeah, that would be.
They're gonna pull an Xbox thing, right? Remove the slot and charge more money. Barry's so excited about that. Yeah, I mean, what the thing that coming out this quick, or, you know, if it is this summer, it does seem so odd. I think because as all of us did, like you said, Barry, we all predicted if it was going to happen, it was going to happen in the holiday time. This summer does seem kind of really, really quick. But
although when they've done revisions and stuff in the past, or cheaper versions, from announcement to release, it's only been a few weeks to a couple months. Like, it's usually not anything super long, because it's not a new system per se. It's just I think the Pro model might have a longer release gap from like announcement to release versus the cheaper model, because the Pro model, they might have some new things to introduce, whereas the cheaper one, you know, they're just cutting things out and saying, here's a more affordable version of what's out there, you know.
That's a good point, and probably better battery life.
Yeah, here's the $200 version, no eShop, no online play. Like,
go the other way instead.
That's
one of the things that Wall Street Journal mentioned was that they would probably take away HD Rumble, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because it already, if you don't have detachable Joy-Cons, there's already a couple of games that you kind of might lose compatibility with, unless you buy extra Joy-Cons and connect with it. But HD Rumble, like 1-2 Switch, can't play some of the stuff. Then again, not many people played it anyways.
Mario Party.
But, yeah, Mario Party. Yeah, so like it makes me wonder, I don't know, like what, it'll just be interesting to see what they decide to cut out.
But I think if you are talking about in the console itself, it would really be the Joy-Cons that have the HD Rumble. And so if the attached controllers that are on there don't have HD Rumble, that makes sense to leave that out. But you could still attach through Bluetooth or whatever your regular your Joy-Con. So I think that makes sense. And because actually I often turn off the Rumble when I am playing with attached. I know Greg plays a lot of his Switch in mobile, you know, handheld mode. But when I play it, I turn the Rumble off most of the time, because it rattles the whole system, and the battery doesn't last as long and stuff like that.
It's loud too.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of the funny story when I was assembling like the Labo VR thing, and like the rockets took off. I had the Joy-Con sitting on the table. Like my wife was like, "What the heck is that?" It was going.
That's funny, because I did the same thing. I had to sit on the table, and it started happening. I looked in the other room to see if my wife was looking, because she's probably wondering what in the heck's going on.
Yeah, I normally just leave all the batteries. I don't really play around with the settings and turn off the Rumble or anything. I like the full experience, but it just kind of stinks to have to charge it every day.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out pretty soon if we're actually going to get these. If the Wall Street Journal is to be believed, which, like we said, they're pretty reliable, and they say they have some good sources. So maybe just in a few months, probably at E3, they'd announce this. That's what our guess is, I'd say. But if you want a new Switch, at least kind of new Switch, at least new firmware on your Switch, you don't have to wait any longer, because version 8.0 is now out. 8.0.0. It was distributed today. Of all days, today. They knew we were having a podcast, and they're like, yeah, let's let's not launch it tomorrow. That's too rude. We've been doing that a lot to the NintendoFuse team. How about we release it actually today so they can talk about it very new on their podcast? So yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in version 8.0.0. I'm just going to run through this stuff real quick, and then we'll kind of chat about the things that excite you the most, or the stuff that maybe is not so exciting. But we do have a sort software feature that is available after selecting to view all software. So now you can actually sort your software instead of just having it in, whatever you played recently or anything like that. And you can sort it by last played, total time played, software title, and software publisher. And the all software option, as most of you know, displays after you have 13 different titles on your Switch. So that can sort your software. There's also a view all available news option within the news, allowing you to view all news items currently being distributed. So you can just go to the news channel list and view more to see that. You can also select from 15 different new icons for your profile icon from Splatoon 2 and Yoshi's Crafted World. There's a feature to transfer your save data. As it's now available, allowing you to transfer all your data for individual games between your Nintendo Switch systems. So if you get a new Nintendo Switch system, you can actually transfer your save data. That's kind of weird that that's coming in version 8. But we'll talk about that in a second. And a zoom feature can now be enabled within the system settings. You can just go and turn it on, and you can actually zoom by pressing the home button twice. It's an interesting addition. An option is now available to prevent the system from waking from sleep mode when the AC adapter is disconnected. Also available in your settings, and this will also applies when undocking your console. There's also a new VR mode setting in the settings to restrict VR compatibility within the parental controls. So let's say you have a really young child who's not old enough to see virtual reality stuff. You can actually shut the VR off completely so they don't accidentally enter into VR mode. Or if you just never want it yourself, I guess you can turn it on yourself. There's also Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea availability for regions. I didn't realize those weren't available regions yet, but those are now available. And the following names have been changed. The functionality remains the same. So the Save Data Cloud Backup is now just called Save Data Cloud. And the Transfer Your User and Save Data is now just called Transfer Your User Data. So a lot of new updates here in version 8.0. Hassan, let's go to you first. And what do you think about some of these updates? Anything that really stands out to you?
I know it's not a big deal, but I hate their numbering convention of like having 8.0.0. Like whatever happened to like the first numbers, like, typically a big update and then the point something. Like, come on, Nintendo, you're gonna be on version 42 like in 2 years, or like what's going
themes.
on?
Like, right? That's why you're expecting themes and folders.
You expect something bigger, right? At least it's not just system stability improvements. But I don't know. Like, I guess this sorting thing is kind of nice. It's a little bit better, but I kind of wish you could also custom sort. Because I tried it and I was like, okay, yeah, I might switch it to like sort my software by total play time, so the ones I play the most are up front. But I also kind of would want to I'd want to rearrange them and like pick my order of things, which I can't do still. There's really nothing else here that is, worth looking into for me. The one thing that was kind of interesting that may or may not tie into the conversation we just had about transferring your save data. I wonder why they're implementing such a feature right now ahead of potentially new Switch versions coming out. Interesting.
Maybe people are actually buying a new Switch very soon.
Maybe. So, very, very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the zoom thing is more like an accessibility feature that they've kind of added. Although I haven't tried it out myself. I heard it works like not just in like the system menu, but like across any game you play, that sort of thing. So it might actually be kind of handy if you want to zoom in on something for like a screenshot, or I don't know, like, like kind of, it's a nice little added bonus for all the games, I guess. But
how do you know how? Yeah, you said you haven't tried it yet, but do you know if like can you control where you're zooming in? Or
I saw like a screenshot that somebody posted of like, so you double tap and then you can set how much you zoom or not. And I saw a little icon. It was like a rectangle within it, and then there's a smaller rectangle in it. So kind of showing what part of the screen was zoomed in. So I assume you can move around and, you know, zoom in on something specific.
So it's probably like when the game is paused or something then? Because I'm guessing you probably couldn't do that like during a game because it take over other controls. I don't know. I'll play around with it later, I guess. So, all right. Greg, anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I was going to point out the system transfer thing, but I guess more to jump onto that is it's kind of interesting that they're implementing this now, seeing as like even like the 3DS and the Wii and Wii U like had these features on release, but it's like it's about time it got transfer to other console. Yeah. But I do think that what Hudson was just saying, it does kind of lead into that like it's like, are they actually going to be announcing them? And could give more credit to that. But yeah, overall it just seems like a very normal, like lackluster kind of update as usual. And again, they need more themes. They need better ways to store it. I mean, like the 3DS and Wii U had much better methods to store all your icons and games and stuff. I don't know why Switch made it so difficult and not very friendly, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, definitely seems like a catch up. Like all the other updates so far, like we're gonna finally add these things that should have been in there from the very beginning, but we're gonna eventually add them. You know, it makes sense to add new icons and adding, you know, the VR stuff in there, but this other stuff, this probably should have been there from the very beginning. Barry, what do you think of this version 8.0.0 update? Oh, caught him off guard. You there, Barry?
I'm here.
What do you think of this update?
For me, it's about that save data transfer, and the thing that catches me is when they added the cloud save. That was great, and there was some caveats though. You couldn't do Smash, you couldn't do like Pokemon, and I think there was another game you could. Splatoon, I don't think you could do. Will you be able to transfer those to other systems? And if you couldn't, then I think that'd be really, really big. Like, well, yeah, you know, I would think they would want you to. So if you can do that transfer, what about cloud saves? Like it kind of opens up another can of worms. But that's what kind of excites me, in a sense, to at least have that way of backing up. Because if your Switch is, you know, going down, like I just keep thinking about my poor Wii, and it's the hostage digital titles I had. This will be hostage save data for me.
So I'm just checking right now, Barry. So it looks like you can, because I went into the settings to like transfer save data, and I selected Splatoon 2, and it's like asking if I want to continue.
So you can do those titles then, which is good at least.
Yeah.
But
yeah, at least looking at all these games seem
that's good. That's, to me, that's the biggest thing. But again, this should have been there at launch. Like all these things, I feel should have been there at launch. I could see the languages not being there at launch, just because it takes translations. But obviously the VR slider thing coming out now makes sense. But other than that, this is all nice stuff. The zoom feature could be the greatest feature in the world that we just didn't know we wanted. But it's nice to see Nintendo update. It's just, again, weird. Like 8.0, it took this long to get these features. Like these are staple. Like
yeah. This should be like version 2.3 at this point or something, not 8.0. But you know, the one thing that stands out to me, and I need to check this out, and maybe Hudson you can, is this view all available news option. So I don't know about you guys, but the news area both excites me, because I think it's cool, because it's a little bit of the stuff they had from the Wii U. They brought it over. It's cool and everything. But when you have more than one profile or regional profile, you get everything from Nintendo that's in all those other languages, and it annoys the crap out of me because like I don't even visit the news app anymore because I just have a bunch of stuff that I can't read because it's in another language. And so I would love for the ability, like now if games have separate ones, you can turn those off, which is great. But within Nintendo's stuff, like you can't. And I'm wondering, maybe this has this update. Can you turn that off now? No,
I don't see anything. That would be a megaton. That would be amazing if you could do that. Yeah. No, all that I see is that new option of like when you go into the list of channels to like add more to channels if you want more, you can go to view more and see like the full list of all the channels to add now, which there's a lot. But yeah, no.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's the killer feature that I'd be waiting on. In addition to themes and folders and better sorting and all of their stuff, I want to be able to turn off all the Japanese news from Nintendo because I can't read it anyhow, and it's also duplicated because I've already seen it in English and French and German and everything else that I've got in my system as well. So I know that's a minor thing that not everybody has, multiple regional logins. But for those of us that like to occasionally, get software from other regions, that's kind of a pain in the butt because I don't enjoy the news app at all right now. All right, so maybe version 9 might be eventually a good one, or maybe they'll throw us a curveball and it'd just be version 8.0.3, and all of a sudden it'll have this huge updates. Like Custom was saying, the numbering system doesn't really apply like it should. So who knows? Maybe when the Pro comes out, we'll have some new stuff. Moving on, a couple of just smaller news stories before we wrap up today. There was a recent commercial that Nintendo put out, and they've been doing a really cool job. I think one of the things that we have talked about previously on the podcast is the one of the things that the Wii U really struggled because their marketing was awful. We kind of knocked it out of the park in terms of their marketing, but when Wii U came along, they just marketed it horribly. But it seems like they've learned their lesson, and I feel like overall we've been pretty pleased with how the Switch has been marketed in terms of commercials, how they're pitching the system, how they're getting out there to people, and it seems like they're doing a great job of even marketing previous games and kind of bringing them back to the forefront. And so Nintendo has been doing that and bringing out some other commercials and stuff. And so they've got this recent commercial that I believe came out last week, and showing off Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is cool. Some kids at a party, it looks like, and they're playing. But the very beginning of that commercial, it shows off a section of the screen. And that menu system didn't really look like the menu system that's on my version of Smash Brothers Ultimate. I don't know about you guys, and it's pretty obvious that, I mean, it's pixelated, but it's pretty obvious that there's a stage builder on that version of Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. So I, number one, want to go play at their house. And number two, I'm wondering, when is this coming? And are you guys excited about a stage builder possibly coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate? Or I would say confirmed at this point. Like, why would Nintendo put this in there if it wasn't a possibility? Barry, what do you think about this?
This is something I said originally, that I felt like even though Smash Ultimate was ultimate in terms of characters, it was lacking in modes. And a lot of the staples were not there. And I said they're probably going to put these out in free updates, to prolong Switch, just kind of like, or the Smash Ultimate, like they've done with Splatoon 2, and they've done with ARMS, and they're doing with Mario Tennis, and even Captain Toad. So I can see this absolutely being real. I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, ever since Brawl came out, we were all like, oh, yeah, cool, this is great. And they brought it back in the Wii U version. I just hope there's more features. Like the Brawl Smash stage builder was actually pretty cool, and actually was used for like farming stickers, and like you could do some really cool things. In terms of the Wii U version, it was very lackluster. Like you could draw your little platform, but that was almost about it. So I really hope this is like the Mario Maker of stage building, where they can really go to town. I think that'd be awesome. But I do hope. I have a feeling that's going to be this month because A, the commercial was shown, and B, they stated that Joker was coming in April. We're now halfway through, so it's probably going to come within the next 2 weeks. It's going to probably accompany Joker. We're going to get a new stage as well because we know Joker's coming with a stage. And I hope that we also get some returning stages back because there's still quite a bit of returning stages that didn't come back, and some of them are kind of jarring, like Woolly World and the DK Tropical Freeze stage from Wii U and Poke Floats. Me and a whole bunch of other people want. So I hope those come back, and hope this is the case where we get home run contests and break the targets and board the platforms and race to the finish and everything coming back. And even Smash Run and Smash Tour, even though a lot of people didn't like those, having them again as options is never a bad thing. And I think Smash had its heyday in December, and it did well in January, but it's now April. People who wanted Smash bought Smash. People who don't have a Switch that want Smash are probably going to wait till this holiday when it probably goes on a Black Friday sale. This is more of an incentive to go back to Smash and say, maybe I need to get it sooner than Black Friday.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, it points to, you know, like they're adding big updates that I think Stage Builder is a pretty big update. So to add other modes like, you know, break the targets and all that stuff, that seems like it could be definitely a possibility now. Greg, what do you think of this this leak that Nintendo kind of slipped out there?
Well, I mean, normally it's really interesting because they're always very like tight-lipped and not like trying to reveal stuff like that, and then they just throw something like this and it just like kind of passes by everybody, and then like, wait a minute, like what's that? And then it's like, oh wait, like they almost seems like there's somebody might have like lost their job over it for like putting it there. But in all seriousness, it is pretty cool that like Stage Builder's coming. I did like playing around with it a lot in the previous versions of Smash, and it'll be really cool to see that return. And like Barry, I mean, I really want to see like break the targets, like board the platforms, home run contests. I did kind of like dipping into some of those other modes, but I don't know if all of that will come in the update. But I know they gave us that nice tease before that, like, oh, the April update's gonna be a big one. So I don't know how big. Maybe it could just be Stage Builder and Joker, and that's about it. But I guess
I'm trying to think. Didn't they show like 2 things blurred out? Like specifically highlighting 2. One of them probably Stage Builder. What could the other one be?
Yeah. Who knows? Could be like games and more and more. I don't know.
Well, it could be really cool, like if you take the ideas that we talked about Labo earlier, and bringing Stage Builder in to really build out that online thing. I mean, you could share some stages before, but what if they really put a lot more work into that? That could be something that could be really great. Hassan, do you think this is something that they accidentally did, or was this a purposeful leak?
I think it was totally on accident. It's one of those things where they probably were filming the commercial and they needed to, you know, they edited in the video screen and they were just pulling from their latest build of the game, not realizing that the menu was a little bit different than what we currently have. And, you know, I think it just kind of slipped by them. It would be a little odd if this was purposely put in there because it's just so random, you know. But I do think it's coming soon. It's coming this month probably with the whole 3.0 update or with Joker and that sort of thing. What's interesting is a couple weeks or a couple months ago, there was a data mine of Smash Brothers, and the Stage Builder was mentioned in there along with Home Run Contest. Granted, in the menu, like looking at the screen there, I would imagine Home Run Contest, if it was in the game, would be on that menu unless it's hidden under some other section or something. So maybe Home Run Contest is something that would come later. But they did tease 2 things, so you know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think we'll be creating our own custom stages in the next week or 2. You know, with this update probably. With
our track record, we're gonna get the announcement tomorrow morning, and
there was a rumor that I just saw like an hour or 2 ago that was like a supposed leaked screenshot of Joker and Smash, which looked really sketchy to me, but it mentioned April 19th. So it's only a couple days away. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, might be happening. Got your taxes done on April 15th and Smash Brothers Stage Builder the next day. Who knows? Let's last bit of news I want to talk about just briefly is Disney has been talking a lot about their plans and everything. They've officially bought Fox. They've gotten like this massive, some people, think it might be a monopoly in terms of entertainment. There's just so much stuff that's coming under Disney's umbrella, including Star Wars, the new Star Wars movie trailer coming out and everything. Pretty hyped about that. But aside from that, because this isn't a Star Wars, podcast, I'll refrain from going there. But Disney made some big announcements to do with their Disney Plus service. And so essentially they're going to be kind of developing, if you haven't heard about this yet, it's this kind of a Netflix competitor. They do own, I think, 60% of Hulu now. So Hulu is now basically the majority of it is owned by Disney. And so they've got that service, but they're also developing this Disney Plus streaming services as well. And it's going to contain eventually, once the rights and everything get back all to Disney over the next couple of years, everything that falls under the Disney umbrella. So all the Marvel stuff, all the Pixar stuff, all the Disney animation stuff, all the Disney Channel stuff, the National Geographic stuff that they just bought, Star Wars, everything is going to be available on this service. And Jake just want me to talk about more about Star Wars. Some other time, not on the Nintendo podcast, but at some other time we can talk Star Wars for sure. But yeah, so all this cool stuff, it's going to be $6.99 a month, which is a very competitive price. And if you buy an annual subscription, it's going to be $69.99 for a whole year pass, which is a very, very competitive price. And they said it's going to be available on Nintendo Switch. So it seems like, they've got Hulu on there already. We've got YouTube. That's pretty much all we've gotten, I think, in terms of that kind of streaming content and app sort of stuff. But Netflix is still staying off the Switch. We don't know really the reason why, if that's Nintendo's call, if it's Netflix's call. It seems weird because it was on Wii and Wii U. But Disney seems like, they consider this a viable platform for their Disney Plus service. So kind of just not a whole lot to talk about, I'm sure, but what do you guys think about this news from Disney Plus? Barry?
Well, first off, the Disney Plus news is amazing. I mean, it's definitely something we're going to be getting. But the fact that it's on Switch and at launch, I mean, they showed, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch all there, as well as tablets, like everything. It's pretty much going to be on. But they value Switch completely to be there, and I think it's a huge get. And I think it's a big blow to Netflix, and I think that may be one of the reasons they did it. Is because they are definitely pricing this to be competitive with Netflix. They've stated that they want to take that market, and like, oh, Netflix is not on the Switch. How many people have Switches? Oh, that's a lot of people. Let's throw it on Switch. And if anything, that could be great for us, because that could actually spark Netflix to say, all right, you know what? We're done being stubborn. Let's put Netflix on Switch. I mean, they even had like the Stranger Things 3 game shown off. And it was like, oh, you could get that at the same time as on Netflix, which isn't on Switch. Like, come on, that should be on Switch too.
Yeah. It is weird. I mean, you bring up that my mind immediately went to even the recent news we talked about in our last show about Twitch Prime. Now allowing you to have a full year of Nintendo Online, this connection with Amazon, and yet the Amazon Prime streaming app is not on Switch either. So that's kind of odd. Greg, what do you think of this news about Disney Plus?
Yeah, we were definitely super excited to get it, and we were looking through the compatible devices, and I don't know if we really had a way to play it on the TV. So this gives us that avenue to actually play it on the TV. So I know there were very minimal things that you had to have, like a Roku or like a brand new TV, which we have neither. So it was like, okay, how are we going to play on the TV? And now we can use the Switch. So it works out perfectly in that regard for us.
Cool.
But yeah, and I think you also forgot to mention that they did purchase the 20th Century Fox stuff. So Simpsons and stuff like that's going to be on there too. So that's definitely very exciting to see.
That's like all your favorite things in one, right? Nintendo, Simpsons, Disney.
Boom.
There you go.
Top 3 right there.
Yeah, I'm wondering too if they say you can actually download it to your system, and I'm wondering Nintendo is going to be would allow you to download episodes of shows or movies to your Switch as well, because I know you're going to be able to do it on the other platforms they talked about. Maybe they're going to allow it to. Hassan, what do you think about this?
So I mean, you could put on the micro SD card or whatever. So
yeah, that'd be cool. Hassan, what do you think?
Well, I mean, Steve, as evidenced by your Star Wars shirt, my Avengers hat, and I think we're all loving Disney here. So yeah, I'm very excited about Disney Plus. I mean, I have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. What else is that? All the different stuff, and it's to keep up with, but Disney, all their exclusive stuff, Star Wars, Marvel shows, everything on their day one. I'm ready for this. So it's really cool that it's coming to so many different devices. The interesting thing, though, I was looking it up just to confirm. I don't know that they've 100% said that the Switch and Xbox One apps are coming on day one. They confirmed PS4 at launch, but then the others are kind of unclear if they're going to be on launch or a little bit later. But regardless, I think it'll still be cool. Granted, I don't think I'm probably gonna even use it on the Switch though, because I have my iPad Pro that I'd probably watch it on, so it'd be like in HDR and all that, and then I have my Apple TV 4K to watch on the TV, so I don't have as much of a reason for it, which is why I don't really use the Hulu app on the system. But I think it's great to have, and it adds more to the ability of what the Switch can do, and makes it so much weirder that Netflix is still not on it. It makes no sense to me. Like Disney Plus, brand new streaming service. Yeah, we're going to Switch. We're doing all this stuff. Like Netflix is just not. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm most excited about actually is when I'm traveling with my Switch. There's quite often I'm going to places for holidays or something like that, that I'm going to a family member's house that maybe doesn't have an Apple TV like I do, and all that access. And plus I can't, like, maybe I'm already going to be logged into my own accounts on the Switch. So be able to just pop it in and go, instead of having to bring my Switch and my Apple TV, because I need to bring all that stuff with me and everything. It kind of cuts down on those sort of situations. On a regular daily basis, I don't see myself on there either. I'm going to be watching that stuff on my phone or my Apple TV or my computer or something like that. But when I'm traveling on occasion, like for those kind of situations, I'm excited to bring that along. And I also would love to have Netflix there as well. I'm actually, like, this is a different conversation, but like I'm possibly, like, I'm thinking about if Disney Plus keeps it up, I may actually drop my Netflix subscription and just move that money over to Netflix or to Disney Plus instead, because it's a great price and pretty viable option there, especially because they're going to be everywhere. And Netflix isn't on Switch, and maybe it's time for them to lose some money on that, because that's unfortunate. So, all right. Well, that brings us to the end of our news and the end of our podcast today. And guys, the next time we talk on April 29th, one of the Disney properties is going to have their next big thing out, and I'm going to be so excited to see some Avengers Endgame.
Speaking of which, stay away from the internet, because major spoilers just leaked. So there's footage out there. Yes. So literally mute all the hashtags, everything, like actual footage, minutes of footage from crucial moments in the movie have leaked. So be warned.
Like real stuff, or like things like
legitimate,
just like, made up.
Like actual footage has leaked. Man. Major stuff. So be warned.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that the Twitter has the ability to mute words and hashtags and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish, like, can you do that on YouTube yet? I want to do that on there too, because that's my problem.
Nice.
Yeah. The thumbnails just pop up and I'm like, crap, I didn't intend to see this, but now I've seen it. So, well, I'm going to be off YouTube and Twitter and everything for the next 2 weeks, or I guess a week and a half. So see you in a couple weeks when we're back on April 29th for the next podcast. But until then, I guess I'm off the internet, at least until the 26th for sure.
You'll be in the world of Labo VR.
That's right.
Spend all your days just in VR.
That's right.
I already can tell what Barry wants to say. You should spend your time in Turna and you won't have to worry about it.
Thank you, Greg. See, I don't even need to say anything. Torna is calling your name.
It might take me that week and a half to finish it from all those side quests. So let's talk about what else you guys looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks until our next podcast. I'll go first, and one of the games, I'm pretty sure the name of it is, I should have remembered this, and I'm going to be able to pull it up real quick. It's called Hob. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's been on other systems as well, but the definitive edition just came out recently, and it was a game that kind of went unnoticed for me for a second, and then I did get a review copy of it, and I'm pretty excited to play it. It seems like a kind of platformy adventure game. Seems really cool. The graphics look great and everything. So I'm looking forward to jumping into that over the next couple of weeks. And I think it was released. I can't remember if it was released since our last podcast or right before that, but it's a very recent release. But as far as I know, it's digital only. So I don't think it's out on physical for Barry, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Barry, what are you looking forward to over the next couple weeks? Anything big?
Well, I mean, like Final Fantasy 10-2 comes out, but I've already done that. I'm pretty much gonna be trying to do more Labo VR. And more 14. That's a big thing. Like there's a Final Fantasy 15 crossover event with 14 coming out tomorrow, so that's going to be pretty exciting. Even though 15 is my least favorite of the numbered series. Other than that, I mean, obviously Avengers, and now staying off the internet, that limits me with a lot of things. And I have to wait till Sunday because that's when I have Sunday tickets because I don't feel like going to Craziness Friday. So I know that weekend I'm completely offline. But yeah, that's I'm trying to think what else is coming out. But those are the main things. I mean, I'll probably go back to Yoshi. Maybe try a couple other games if I get the chance. Just what I have in backlog, but no time. I know Jake's just waiting for it, but no time.
No time even for Cuphead.
Cuphead is coming out digitally, and I'm waiting for the physical, which is coming after the DLC comes out because it's all going to be there on the physical.
Maybe you'll have time by then.
Maybe I'll have time by then.
Maybe some Mortal Kombat or something. I'm taking away things from other people. Greg, what are you looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks?
Get over here. Finish him.
Mortal Kombat, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll end up buying it like day one, but I'm kind of tempted to get it because I haven't played that in quite a while, and seeing like Shao Kahn as a playable character is kind of pretty cool. So I don't know, I might end up just biting the bullet and getting it, but it's the main thing outside of just catching up on stuff and trying to actually experience the Labo VR and more Yoshi. So
nice. Hudson, how about you? What have you been playing, or what will you be playing?
Probably not too much, to be honest, because no time. But yeah, I'm teaching an undergrad class, and this is the last 2 weeks of the semester. So probably after that, I'm very much looking forward to playing a lot more video games. But I will be doing more Labo VR. So hopefully, like this weekend, I'll have some time to kind of build out some more of the sets. I want to try the blaster as well, so that might be the next one that I build. So yeah, just looking forward to playing around with more Labo VR.
Cool. Yeah, there are a couple other games that are coming out in the next couple of weeks, like we talked about. Cup Boy, also Box Boy plus Box Girl is coming out in a couple weeks on April 26th. Steam World Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh, Mech, right? Mech is coming out, I believe, on April 24th. There's some pretty cool games coming out the next couple of weeks. So yeah, if you're looking forward to something, make sure you throw those down in the comments as well, and what you've been playing and what you're looking forward to play. And like we said, we're going to be back on April 29th with our next podcast. Until then, do stay offline, except for NintendoFuse content. You can read all about that because we won't be spoiling Avengers for you, but you can read all about our content. We've got some cool reviews, some new authors that we've been bringing on the team, and they've been popping out some cool reviews. So make sure you check those out. And we got some new ones coming up. Again, if you have not subscribed to NintendoFuse on YouTube, make sure you do that and hit that bell to be alerted by every new video and every time we go live. And also be sure to follow us on social media. Just search for @NintendoFuse on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a Facebook group that we'd love to grow and be able to talk to you guys outside of the podcast and outside of the chat room to be able to just kind of keep up the conversation, build our community there. Hassan and I were just talking to one of our old forum members the other day, Termy. Found us on Twitter and started talking to us and everything, and just kind of cool to just briefly reminisce about the old forum days. And that'd be cool if we could kind of bring back that kind of community in our Facebook group. So if you're listening and you're a member of the old forums that we used to have back in the Wii Nintendo days, make sure you do join our Facebook group, and it'd be really cool to bring that back from the dead a little bit. Also wanted to let you guys know that we are looking to add to our team. I mentioned that we have added some new authors and stuff. So if you're looking to contribute to NintendoFuse and you've been maybe reading us for a while or watching us for a while and you'd like to contribute as a news writer, we're looking for video editors and graphic artists and stuff like that. Unfortunately, this is not a paid gig. We all volunteer to do this, but we are able to kind of maybe throw some review copies and stuff like that your way sometimes. And there's some different perks in being able to get into gaming events and stuff like Play NYC and PAX and stuff like that. So if you're interested, make sure you do contact us. You can email us, but just find us our information on social media. But we also do have an application on our Facebook page, so you can just apply right there, and that'd be awesome to have you join our team. But I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, our next episode is going to be on April 29th. So just in a couple of weeks, and we'll look forward to talking with you then. The last thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention it earlier, is today is Reggie's last day at Nintendo of America. He's officially passed it off. At this point, he's done. He has retired, and he has passed off the president, the COO role to Bowser. So Bowser officially is running Nintendo of America as of today. And from all of us here at NintendoFuse, thanks, Reggie, for your years of running Nintendo of America, and good luck to Bowser, who is now running it. And if you haven't noticed yet, you can follow Reggie on Twitter now. So
yeah, he just joined today. I was like, for all this time, Reggie. Yeah, Twitter gold. We just get it now.
Yes, so you can follow. We retweeted his first tweet on our Twitter, so you can find him that way. It's actually just at Reggie. So even though he joined,
how did he get that? Like at Reggie? What?
I don't know. I wonder if it was someone else and they paid some big money for it. I'm sure he's got big money to pay for it. So anyway, that's pretty much it for episode 172. It's in the books. But thanks, guys, for joining us today. Thanks, Hassan, especially for joining us for another podcast. Be sure to check out Hassan's stuff on YouTube. His channel's blowing up, and he's ready. He's left us behind. So long ago.
No. It's always a pleasure coming back and talking with you guys, and we're getting so close to that 10-year anniversary in September, so it's pretty crazy.
It is. I was looking back. Actually, when talking to Charmy about the forums and everything, it got me to kind of reminisce about stuff and everything, and I started looking back as well. So it's been a cool run for sure. But anyway, like I said, that's it for episode 172. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Thanks for joining us in the chat, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a great one.
Bye.
See you guys later.